The educational demands placed on young children have significantly changed throughout history. We see this primarily in the area of kindergarten readiness. Kindergarten used to be built on social-emotional growth and development, and we've recently replaced this foundation with academic skills, such as learning to read. We wondered how this push-down curriculum affected the children and set out on a journey to discover more about this topic. We asked ourselves this essential question: how can teachers best support the youngest of learners while still meeting the high demands that are placed on them?
One way that we gathered data was by taking a public poll of community members. We wanted to know the opinions of the general public in regard to the expectations placed on young children in schools. We first wanted to look at the transformations that have taken place within these early childhood classrooms within the last 20 years. We found research that compared classrooms from 1998 to 2010 and noted some significant changes.
The first statistic we looked at was the percentage of teachers who believed that most children should learn to read in kindergarten. In 1998, 31% believed this, as opposed to 80% in 2010.
In 1998, 87% of kindergarten teachers had dramatic play areas in their classrooms compared to 58% in 2010.
Seventy-two percent of kindergarten teachers had 1 hour per day of child-selected activities, and by 2010 that number was only 44%.
In 2010, 23% of teachers used state or local standardized tests to assess kindergartners. However, standardized testing was not implemented until 2001, when No Child Left Behind was passed.
With all of these changes happening over time, we wanted to talk with teachers in the field who have experienced these shifts and have had to adapt to them firsthand.
I have been teaching since around 1989. I took off some years to raise my children, but during that time I was still in the school districts as a substitute teacher. A lot of it is parents. Parents seem to feel like their kids have to know how to do everything as soon as possible. Parents don't have many parents don't have the understanding of child development that someone who would go to school for that has. So we see parents, thinking that their kids should come into preschool knowing all their letters and that they should be reading by the time they start kindergarten. So there's this misunderstanding of child development. Also, the standardized testing that happens in the elementary schools is, in my opinion, out of control. And that leads to pressure, especially for our kindergarten teachers, to teach to those tests per se, and of course the Common Core standards also have teachers working hard to get their kids to meet some of those standards when maybe they're just not quite ready for them yet. I'm hoping we're going to max out on the testing and the academics and the sit-downs and the worksheets. I hope we're seeing an end of that right now. I mean, the things I read look like people are starting to take notice that maybe that's not the right path to go. So I would love to see it turn back to, a socially emotional experience, growth experience, and more playful, more joyful type learning, and get away from all this sitting down at desks and doing 15 different tasks in a day, and give the kids a chance just to play and explore and communicate and create and all the things that young little bodies need to do. To continue going to workshops, continue reading about early education so that you have the knowledge, and everything nowadays needs to be research based. That's one of the big words in education right now. So make sure the things that you're reading aren't just about things being cute or fun, but that there's some research behind them. And then talk with people. The more you can learn to express your ideas out loud, the easier it becomes. I mean, I've only started to be able to express my ideas better here in the last probably 8 or so years. But during my first years of teaching, I probably would have never been that confident. But that doesn't mean you guys can't be confident. But like I say, keep current on things, keep reading, and talk about it. Even with people who aren't other educators. If you have sisters or brothers that have small children, let them know what you know about raising young children and children's learning, so that you can become more articulate.
When we look at the statistics and the amount of testing required for children, it can seem pretty daunting to be entering the field of education. However, there are steps we can take to create a positive learning environment which teaches to the whole child. First, we can be lifelong learners ourselves. Staying up to date on early childhood education and child development research will give us the greatest insights into how children learn and what is developmentally appropriate for them. We can then take this knowledge to advocate for our students through collaboration with other educators in the field, as well as families and community members. Finally, as teachers, we have the gift of autonomy within our classrooms. We have the opportunity to take our school's curriculum and make it developmentally appropriate and meaningful for our students. Through these actions, we truly have the power to change the trajectory of public education as we meet high academic demands while keeping the child's best interests at the center of all that we do.
Your first job is going to be difficult. You're not going to know what you're doing. But use the Wisconsin Model Early Learning Standards to help you understand where you should be going with your teaching. Know your children, know your families. Be real and connect with your kids. It's not just about you standing in front of them, teaching them. It's about setting up an environment where they can learn. And you're going to think you're really good your first year, and you'll probably be okay. But then when you're 10 years in, you'll look back at your first year and you'll go, oh my goodness, I didn't know very much. So there's nothing but good to come in the future.